All right. Shalom, shalom. First and foremost, before I get started, I'd like to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh Bahashim, Yahweh Shai Bahashim, Racha HaKodash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone who taught me this truth and rule well. Peace and blessings unto the hopeful elect, pushing his word throughout the four corners of the earth in truth, righteousness, and sincerity. To you I say shalom. This is the brother Yeshaya coming at you again through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bahashim, Yahweh Shai. Back again with another lesson. This one's just going to be entitled "Destruction Prepared." All right, because that's pretty much what's prepared um, for America. You know, for this current era, for this world, right, is a lot of death and destruction, right? But really, um, what I'm gonna be touching on is the nuclear destruction, right? That's being prepared for America. You know, we understand. You know, Israel's gonna get hit as well. You know, but really the main place that's going to get completely eviscerated and become an example to the rest of the world is going to be, you know, this destruction that is being prepared for America, right? AKA Babylon the Great, you know, Egypt 2.0, right? Spiritual Sodom and Gomorrah, right? Spiritual Egypt, you know, Mystery Babylon, right? For all the wickedness that has been done in this place, right? And for all the blood that has been shed, you know, what has been done to the uh, um, Israelites, the so-called blacks, Latinos, Native Americans, you know, all the atrocities that happened to them. So for this reason, this destruction has been prepared, right? And this destruction is about to be executed, you know. The Most High is about to pull, you know, uh, uh, um, pretty much give charge to his angels, you know, to make things start, you know, happening, man, putting things into motion. And we're seeing it. You know, with the signs and tokens that has been offered unto us, you know, signs to look out for, signs to keep an eye on. You know, we're seeing that these signs are coming to pass, you know, and manifesting, you know, before our eyes in real time. You know, every day, you know, there's more and more things that's adding, you know, to the whole buildup of these prophecies, right? And if you can't see it, you know, well, the spirit ain't dealing with you, man, right? You better pray for the spirit. You know, but at the end of the day, you know, we understand there's going to be only a few that's going to believe this truth, that's going to believe the word, right? And have the vision, you know, because that's what's mainly important, right? Is having the vision to be able to perceive these things and understand them, right? And ultimately have faith, you know, because the scriptures talk about how without faith it is impossible to please him, right? Please who? The Lord. So without faith it is impossible to please the Lord, you see. But anyway, like I said, you know, this destruction that's happening, you know, it's gonna be a righteous judgment, man. It's gonna be, you know, something to remember for the ages, right? You know how you remember a work in the well, like in the scriptures, right? Whenever they, you know, write down the works that the Lord did for the Israelites, you know, it is commemorated as a great thing. Well, so is this. You know, this is gonna be remembered as a great thing that He did for our people, right? As a matter of fact, before I start off with this in Isaiah 14, I want to look for that precept. Going into how this next deliverance will be even greater. It will overshadow what the Lord did in Egypt. But let me find it real quick. Bear with me. Um, trying to remember how it goes. Uh, it's too many. No, it's in Jeremiah. Okay, we have it right here. Jeremiah 23, and I'll start at 7. It says, Therefore, behold, the days come, saith the Lord, that they shall no more say, The Lord liveth, which brought up the children of Israel out of the land of Egypt, right? But the Lord liveth, which brought up and which led the seed of the house of Israel out of the north country and from all countries whither I have driven them, and they shall dwell in their own land. You see, the north country, what's that talking about? Talking about North America, you know, and because and it says, and from all countries whither I have driven them. Why? Why? Because Israel is scattered, right? You have camps, you know, in over there in Europe, right, in London, right, in Germany, you know, you have camps everywhere. So everywhere the believers are at, and not even just the camps, but you have Jake just everywhere, right? And in these last days, you know, you're gonna start seeing an influx of people um, looking for the truth, right? So that number is just gonna increase of believers, especially in these times that was coming into, because some people have to see it. Some people is gonna have to get a little bit harder for them to start um, trying to look for answers. Now, for some people, it's gonna be too late. For some people, you know, mainly really the elect only, you know, they're gonna be, you know, led in, right, led to the truth, you know, in order for them to repent unto the Lord. But anyway, let me go back, right? The point being is how the Lord is gonna um pretty much make this place almost well, at least the work that He's gonna do unto this place is gonna be remembered, right, as a righteous thing. But anyway, let's go ahead and go to Isaiah 14, verse 21. It says, Prepare slaughter for his children, for the iniquity of their fathers, that they do not rise, nor possess the land, nor fill the face of the world with cities. Right? So, whose children? Esau's children. Right? Because this is ultimately what the destruction is going to be for. Right? To eliminate Esau's hegemony, right? His power, his control, his dominion, especially here in America. Really, the whole world. You know, the whole world is going to be stripped away from his hands, right? Job 9:24, the earth is given to the hands of the wicked. Well, that's about to change. You know, the earth is about to, the Lord is about to strip away Esau's power, right? And completely destroy his kingdom, his empire that he has built. You see? So this destruction is being prepared for what? Like it says, for the iniquity of their fathers. Now you have a lot of these Edomites saying, oh, well, you know, I wasn't back then. I wasn't back there, you know, in the in the 1700s, in the 1600s, with the conquistadors and the slave traders and all this and that. I didn't own slaves. My family, you know, they didn't own slaves. But you gotta understand, you know, that all these people back then, they were all complicit, right? They didn't do anything to try to help Jake, you know. Back then, that was looked at as acceptable, you know, in Esau society, right? To have Jake slaves and to talk down upon Jake and talk shit about Jake, even now in secret, right? Do it behind closed doors, even though now, you know, Esau's horns are starting to show, but still, right? For a long time, Esau was able to hide, you know, and our people like to say that, oh, you know, well, Esau ain't the same, you know, he ain't that, like that was their fathers, you know, their forefathers, you know, they were these frothing at the mouth racists. They were the ones that did this. You know, you can't put the sins of the fathers on the children. But you got to understand, there's a thing called reincarnation, right? And through that process, the same spirit that was back then will come back to that lineage or whatever, right, of people in the third or fourth generation, right? And as a matter of fact, let's get this real quick in Exodus 34 and verse 7. So it says, I'll just read verse 7. It says, keeping mercy for thousands, forgiving iniquity and transgression and sin, and that will by no means clear the guilty, visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children and upon the children's children unto the third into the fourth generation, right? So in the third or fourth generation, right, that spirit, whatever spirit it is, it comes back and it faces judgment, for what it did in its past life, right? So like I said, the judgment that's being prepared right now, the destruction, you know, that's the reason why the scriptures always say, oh, the scripture says, um, how's it go? Um, no one perishes being innocent, right? Because the Lord knows. The Lord puts people in particular positions at whatever, moment in their life, whether it's for judgment, whether it's for a blessing or whatever, but He has things set up in a particular position to serve first and foremost His purpose, right? But also, some things happen for a reason, you know, meaning if a baby dies, it's because of what it did in its past life, right? That's the reason why Christianity, can't really explain things because they go based off of, going to hell or going to heaven. That whenever you die, that's it. You go to hell or you go to heaven. You only live once, you know? But anyway, let's see. Let's go back. I don't want to veer too much off topic. But let's see. Isaiah 14 and verse 22, it says, for I will raise up against him, saith the Lord of hosts, and cut off from Babylon the name and remnant and son and nephew, saith the Lord. See, so that's what he's come to do. He's going to send his son Yahushua to pretty much take the earth, right? And pretty much destroy America, you know? So it says, verse 23, I will also make it a possession for the bittern and pools of water, and I will sweep it with the besom of destruction, saith the Lord of hosts. You see? Because what he's going to do, um, and as it says in the beginning part, I will make it a possession for the bittern and pools of water. Pretty much going into how he's going to make this place a waste, right? This place is going to be a complete desert, right? Only desert animals is going to be inhabiting this place. But it says, and I will sweep it um, with a besom of destruction. What's that? That's talking about the ICBM missiles. That's gonna clean this place up. This is gonna be that cleansing agent, that's gonna make things right. You see, and it's gonna clean up, all the blood that has been soaked in these lands, man, of our people, right? The scriptures go into. I'm not gonna get it, but the scriptures go into. Um, you should not. You should not. As a matter of fact, let me just get it. It's in the law. Numbers 35 and 33. So ye shall not pollute the land wherein ye are, for blood it defileth the land, and the land cannot be cleansed of the blood that is shed therein, but by the blood of him that shed it. You see, so Esau's blood has to be shed, right, in order to rectify what has been done. But at the end of the day, is still gonna have to come back and serve 1,000 years of captivity. You see, so it after the bombs drop, it ain't gonna be the end all be all for this man. he's still gonna have to serve a punishment, a sentence. Now let's see. Let's go back. So Isaiah 14:23. I will also make it a possession for the bitter and pools of water, and I will sweep it with the besom of destruction, saith the Lord of hosts. Right. So sweep it, right? Because this place is gonna be, like I said, it's gonna be cleansed. It needs a cleansing. You know. There was one I had in mind. Isaiah 34. Let's get that. Isaiah 34. Yeah, I'll just start from the top. So it says, come near, ye nations, to hear, and hearken, ye people. Let the earth hear, and all that is therein, the world and all things that come forth of it. For the indignation of the Lord is upon all nations, and his fury upon all their armies. He hath utterly destroyed them. He hath delivered them to the slaughter, right? Because that's what's coming, right? World War Three. All these nations are being gathered together for what? For the ultimate battle that's gonna eventually cause them to shoot their missiles, the nuclear arsenal at each other. But we understand that right before that moment comes, the Lord Yahweh is going to come, and really, um, you know, there's been that account that we always bring out, um, going into how the chariots have control of the missiles. You know, they can just hack into the they can pretty much just put in the nuclear launch codes, and they can, you know, have the missiles go off. But really, the Lord can have, can have it to where he just redirects or just makes the missiles come out. Like, the Lord can do anything, is my point. But he's gonna have 200 uh nuclear warheads hit this place. Talking about America. But anyway, Isaiah 34 and verse 2, it says, for the indignation of the Lord is upon all nations, and his fury upon all their armies. He hath utterly destroyed them, he hath delivered them to the slaughter. Their slain also shall be cast out, and their stink shall come up out of their carcasses, and the mountains shall be melted with their blood, and all the hosts of heaven shall be dissolved. Right? It says, all the hosts of heaven shall be dissolved, meaning their armies are going to be dissolved. Right? Their fighter jets, right? Their air force, their navy, right? Their armies. They're gonna be evaporated, man. Why? Because they're gonna be fighting against the chariots, right? And the second of all, when the missiles drop, it's just gonna, sweep everything up. But it says, and the heavens shall be rolled together as a scroll, right? Going into the mushroom clouds, right? When the bombs drop, and all their hosts shall fall down, as a leaf falleth off from the vine, um, and as a falling fig from the fig tree. Um, right. I was trying to see if this one had that one verse where it says clean dissolved. I must be thinking of a different one. Oh, I think it was back in Isaiah 24. But yeah, you get the point on that one, right? Let's go back. Isaiah 24 and 17. It says, fear in the pit, in the snare are upon thee, O inhabitants of the earth. Right? So that's what's happening. Right? Fear, this is in the pit, in the snare. Right? Because that's what the Lord's preparing these people for. Right? He's preparing people to fall in this major snare. Right? And it's all because of the pride, right? Especially of our people, that they have so much pride, they have so much, they're very hard headed, to the point where really it's just gonna be to their own destruction. You know, at the end of the day, it was predestined, right? But you can see, amongst our people, those brothers, you brothers that have families, have told your brothers, your sisters, your mothers, your fathers, your aunts, your uncles, your cousins, right? You know, you can see a lot of this stuff just goes over Jake's head. You know what I'm saying? A lot of Jakes, they don't want to put down the pork. They don't want to put down the weed. They don't want to put down, certain things that's really a detriment unto them. You know, and that stubbornness, that unwillingness to change, is what's gonna get them, destroyed. But ain't nothing we can do about that. You know what I'm saying? We just gotta, you know, do our part. Do our part of getting our hands clean and you know continue moving, man. Right? We gotta worry about ourselves first. 'Cause at the end of the day, we can't. As the scripture says, we gotta work out our own salvation, right? But anyway, let's see. Where was that? Oh yeah, verse 18. It says, "And it shall come to pass that he who fleeth from the noise of the fear shall fall into the pit, and he that cometh out of the midst of the pit shall be taken in the snare. For the windows from on high are open, and the fountains of the earth do shake. The earth is utterly broken down. The earth is clean, dissolved." Right. So what's gonna make this place clean? This is clean, dissolved, right? Because this, like the scripture says in Second Peter, the third chapter, right? All the elements shall melt with fervent heat, right? As a matter of fact, let me finish this out. The earth is utterly broken down. The earth is clean, dissolved. The earth is moved exceedingly, right? The earth shall reel to and fro like a drunkard, and shall be removed like a cottage, and the transgression thereof shall be heavy upon it, and it shall fall and not rise again, right? Because the earth is going to shake. These missiles is going to do a number on the earth, man, right? This is going to be, a major, major event. Like Sodom and Gomorrah ain't going to have shit on what the Lord's going to do on America, right? Let me see. I was going to get Second Peter, the third chapter, um, right here, in verse 10, 2 Peter 3 and 10. "But the day of the Lord shall come as a thief in the night, or will come as a thief in the night, in the which the heavens shall pass away with a great noise, and the elements shall melt with fervent heat. The earth also and the works that are therein shall be burned up." Right, so everything is going to be pretty much eviscerated, right? This place is going to be cleansed through that fire. It's going to be clean, dissolved, man. But you ain't going to see nothing but fire for a while. Then eventually it's going to die down, and all you're going to see is a desert, right? But verse 11, it says, "Seeing then that all these things shall be dissolved, what manner of persons ought ye to be in all holy conversation and godliness?" Right? Because you got to, knowing this, coming to the understanding of this, you got to move differently. Your mindset has to be focused on other things. You can't be caught up with the same old distractions, bread circuses, and continue living as a normal civilian, in this society. And no, now you gotta start, inquiring, of your forefathers, you know, of the ancient ways, how to serve the Lord, repentance, you know, how to prepare yourself for these days, these evil days that we're coming into. You know, a whole mood shift has to happen. You know what I'm saying? You gotta be focused on how to please the Lord, right? Let me see. Um, let's get this. Let's get Isaiah. Uh, Matter of fact, let me see if I can get this real quick. Right here. Sirach 5 and verse 7, it says, "Make no tarrying to turn to the Lord, and put not off from day to day." Right? So put not off from day to day. Make no tarrying, meaning don't procrastinate. Don't be, pussyfooting. Nah, man, right? The Lord requires action, man, right? All that lip service, all that, what I'm saying, all that talk, you know, is all good and everything, but you're gonna have to. It's gonna come a point where action is required, right? But it says, "Make no tarrying to turn to the Lord, and put not off from day to day, for suddenly shall the wrath of the, for suddenly shall the wrath of the Lord come forth, and in thy security thou shalt be destroyed and perish in the day of vengeance." Right? Meaning, it says, "Suddenly shall the wrath of the Lord come forth." Right? Just like we read in Second Peter, right? That the day of the Lord shall come as a thief in the night, meaning unexpected, unannounced, right? Suddenly. At least that's how it's gonna feel whenever that time comes, because people ain't watching. I'm talking about people in the world. They're not paying attention. They're not concerned with the uh, with the end. You know, even though that's what's being pumped, you know, into their minds. First and foremost, by the way of the prophets, but second of all, you have, even their own news broadcasts and these people on podcasts and shit. Lately, what's being talked about is prophetic news, end times, right? But Jake is still, caught up in that mindset of, everything's gonna bounce back and be good again. No, man. Like I said, all these things are that we're seeing, especially the fact that the prophets are out here and this message is going out. Right? The scriptures talk about how, that this gospel shall be preached into four corners of the earth, and then shall the end come. Well, that's what we're seeing. We're seeing the end come. Now that the word has been preached, right? Everything is manifesting right before our eyes, man. So anyway, going back, it says, "Make no tarrying to turn to the Lord, and put not off from day to day, for suddenly shall the wrath of the Lord come forth, and in thy security thou shalt be destroyed and perish in the day of vengeance." So there's gonna be no place for you to be secure, for you to be safe, for you to feel, like, oh, I can hide here, and the Lord can't see me, or I'm not gonna be judged, for what I did. Saying I don't gotta serve the Lord. No, man. In that security that should be destroyed. So you're gonna feel secure, you're gonna feel you're safe, but at the end of the day, the Most High can have any. He can make you die in any form of or fashion, right? Like you had that TV show, A Thousand Ways to Die, right? The Lord can have an infinite amount of ways you can die. Have you choke on your food, right? Have you slip and fall, crack your head open, slip in the shower, and that's it, right? Give you a disease, right? Make it to where if you have a bunker or some shit, you don't even make it to your bunker. So come on now, you can't play with the Lord. The scriptures talk about his it's a terrible thing to fall into the hands of the living power, man. But let's see, let's go back. Let's go back to the topic, right? So let's get. Did I finish? Yeah. Well, as a matter of fact, let me finish out Second Peter 3 and Second Peter chapter 3 and verse 13. It says, "Nevertheless, we, according to his promise, look for new heavens and a new earth wherein dwelleth righteousness." You see, because that's what we're looking forward to, right? That new heaven, that new earth, right? Because this wickedness, this wicked empire has to be uprooted. That's in what's that? Uh, Second Ezra's 4, if I'm not mistaken. Second Ezra's 4:20. Yeah, right here. Second Ezra's 4:28. It says, "But concerning the things whereof thou asked me, I will tell thee, for the evil is sown, but the destruction thereof is not yet come, right? But the destruction is prepared, right? The fact that it's written, tells you it's going to happen. So it says, if therefore that which is sown be not turned upside down, and if the place where the evil is sown pass not away, then cannot it come that is sown with good. You see, so this place has to go. This place has to go in order for the kingdom of heaven to come, right? So anybody that's still wanting to live in America and wanting America to continue on, you're in the wrong mindset, right? Your spirit is with the world, right? Scriptures talk about, where your treasure is, there will your heart be also. So if your treasure is in the world, then that's where your heart is going to be, right? But for us, hey, our heart, our treasure is in heaven. We don't have nothing on this side, right? We're slaves on this side. You can't even have a proper family and be able to, enjoy them on this side. You see? But in the kingdom of heaven, you know, we're gonna have everything our heart desires, man. And it's all gonna be done in righteousness, man. We're gonna be righteous, man. We're gonna be perfect, and no one's gonna be able to take that away from us, right? So again, if you're in the mindset of this place continuing on and this place forwarding and becoming, you know, uh, this great empire, you know what I'm saying, and thinking about the next industrial revolution, the seventh, eighth industrial revolution, and hoping to get, the PS7, the PlayStation 7, and all these, thoughts that people have, out in the world, trying to, look forward to the next, to the future and all this and that. Nah, man, this place is done. This place is over. This place has got to go. It seems like every year this place gets worse and worse, and rightfully so, right? This shows you that this place is decaying. This place is on its way out. This place is rotting from the inside out. But let me get this real quick, because like I said, this destruction that has been prepared, is not only going to take out this place, but take out anybody who is opposed to the Lord. This is Revelation 21 and verse 7. It says, "He that overcometh shall inherit all things, and I will be his God, and he shall be my son." You see? So he that overcometh, right? He that overcometh what? All the persecution, you know, all the tests being thrown his way, you know, because best believe we're gonna be tested. Our faith is gonna be tested. We say we believe, but hey, the Lord wants, to see if we truly mean it. Just like Abraham was tested, hey, we're gonna be tested, right? It says, "But the fearful and unbelieving and the abominable and murderers and whoremongers and sorcerers and idolaters and all liars shall have their part in the lake which burns with fire and brimstone, which is the second death." Right? Yeah, second death being the lake of fire, over here in America. Once the missiles go off, like I said, this place is gonna look like a lake of fire, and that's that second death, right? You had the first death, which is by water. The second death is gonna be by fire. Because you're gonna have missiles go off, in various places, but like I said, the main place that's gonna be completely eviscerated, completely destroyed is gonna be America, from coast to coast. You know, like I said, Israel's also gonna be hit, so that place is gonna have to be cleansed for all the wickedness that's gone on for years. Here it is. These damn small hats claim to be the people, but look at what they're doing over there. They're not following, anything of the scriptures, man. But yet they claim to be, Jews. And for some reason, all of them are from the tribe of Judah. There's none from Benjamin. There's none from Levi. They don't even know where the rest of the tribes are, right? But anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and close it out right there. I pray the lesson was edifying. I'm gonna close it out by saying, "Call Allah Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shai Bahashim Racha Hakodash." Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone who taught me this truth and rule well. Peace and blessings unto the hopeful elect, pushing His word throughout the four corners of the earth in truth, righteousness, and sincerity. Until the next time, I'm gonna say Shalom and Kwam Masha Allah.